This is Dateline Wyoming, a public affairs presentation of WyoRadio News. Conversations with the people behind the headlines, highlighting community issues and events that shape our lives here in Southwest Wyoming. Views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of WyoRadio ownership, management, or that of our sponsors. Time will be made available for responsible dissenting opinion. The Main Street URA program is transforming the downtown area of Rock Springs under the leadership of Chad Banks. Events have been planned and projects are underway to revitalize the downtown area of Rock Springs. This is your host, Tom Ellis, for Dateline Wyoming. On today's program, we will learn more about the URA Main Street program and how it has implemented a resurgence in the economic landscape of downtown Rock Springs. Dateline is next, following this message from our sponsor, Northern Title Company. Good deeds done daily.
Remember when your word and a handshake sealed the deal?
Those were the days.
It's just not the same anymore, but Northern Title Company exemplifies professionalism and old-school customer service. You have a choice when it comes to title work. Northern Title makes it simple for you. They know how important it is to have everything in order. Walk away with confidence knowing Marianne and her staff have completed your title work thoroughly. Visit Northern Title Company, 2620 Commercial Way. Good deeds done daily.
Our guest on Dateline Wyoming is Chad Banks, manager of the URA Main Street program in downtown Rock Springs. Chad, let's start off with just a little bit of information about exactly what URA and Main Street is and exactly what you're doing down there.
The main goal of everything we do is the economic vitality of downtown Rock Springs. So bringing back what was down in Rock Springs, making downtown, again, the heart of the community and the cultural center of the community. So everything that we do really leads to improving the economic vitality down there. So if it's an event, we want to make sure that people are in stores and people are enjoying downtown and seeing it as a hub.
Your group is actually part of the city of Rock Springs?
Well, we're both. I am a city employee, and the Main Street project is funded a good chunk by the city of Rock Springs, but we also have a standalone 501c3 nonprofit organization. We raise our own funds to help business owners and building owners downtown. So some of the things that we do are funded by the city of Rock Springs, and other things are funded by the fundraising we do through our nonprofit organization.
We mentioned URA and we also mentioned Main Street. What is the difference between those two?
We use them sort of synonymously. Actually, the Urban Renewal Agency was prior to the Main Street project, but the Urban Renewal District is really a very big boundary, and it goes from really the interstate is sort of the parameters of that on both the east end of town and the north end of town, and then it goes over towards the overpass out of Blairtown. So that's a huge district that we work with, and everything within that district. The Main Street area really focuses more on downtown, and so our zone and where we're focused is the downtown core, what you think of when you think of as historic downtown.
Talk, if you will, a little bit about Main Street and the organization and where it comes from and what it does.
Sure. It's a national program, the National Main Street Organization, and we are a Wyoming or a nationally certified program. There are 18 communities, both certified and affiliate levels in the state, and we're one of the certified communities. We report on a statewide and national level. We report all of our numbers, and we qualify for grants through both the national and statewide program. So it's been in Wyoming about 10 years, and we were one of the kind of the second round of communities to be certified through the state.
And how long has it been in Rock Springs?
It's been in Rock Springs about, the Urban Renewal Agency has been here just at 10 years, and Main Street about probably 8 or 9 of those years. So, and when we founded the Urban Renewal Agency 10 years ago, we founded it on the Main Street principles, which is, there's 4 basic committees that they work under, which is economic vitality, the organization itself, promotions, and the design.
How long have you been with the organization?
3 years. 3 years and a couple weeks. It'll be my 3-year anniversary. But I have been as a volunteer and city councilman since the very inception, since the very beginning.
Talk, if you will, just a little about the organizational structure for URA.
Sure. There are 4 kind of standing committees. One is design. So that's sort of the murals that you see downtown, helping downtown businesses with facade improvements and how their building can look better, and kind of those design elements. Promotions, which is kind of a lot of what the people think is the fun part of the program, which is having events and retail promotions and activities that that draw people downtown and kind of make the registers ring. Organization, which is fundraising and recruiting volunteers and kind of some of the behind the scenes work, if you will. And then the last one is economic vitality. So looking for ways to attract new businesses downtown, to broaden the base of businesses that are down there, to make sure that the retail sector is strong, et cetera. And so those are sort of the four, I guess, fundamental structural elements to the program. The National Main Street Center really has just revamped all of those, and there's new transformation strategies, as they call them. And so we'll be looking at our programming and making sure that those four elements still fit for us, or are there things that we could do, be better at or stronger, and how we can maybe, reorganize ourselves to be more effective.
Can you give us sort of a state-of-the-art report on how URA in downtown Rock Springs is doing right now?
Yeah, we'll be doing our annual report very quickly, but we just won an award from the state for our Art Underground project, which is the pedestrian underpass. So that was called the Innovation Award, and we're thrilled to have that. We've gotten several grants, one which is a $35,000 grant, which will help us kind of fix up the corner of M Street and North Front, which is formerly the community garden space. We'll be redoing that. We also just received a grant from them as well to work on the ethnic businesses that are downtown. We have about 10 different Hispanic-owned businesses, and so working to see how we can help them, and how we can bring them into the fold as far as helping them fit into downtown, what we can do to help them grow their business. I don't have the reinvestment statistics right with us, but generally we have about 25,000 volunteer hours a year, people in our community that are rolling up their sleeves and helping make downtown better. We give out about $20,000 to $25,000 in grants a year as well to businesses and building owners.
You're actually on it could be called a two-pronged project here. Number one, to get businesses downtown and get business to locate,
right. Mm-hmm.
and to probably help them sustain themselves downtown.
Absolutely, yep.
And then the other is to drive traffic downtown for those businesses once you have them there.
Yep, exactly. And it's always sort of that chicken or egg. People aren't going to come downtown unless businesses are there, and obviously businesses aren't going to locate downtown until people come there. So it really is. Maybe it's not so much chicken and egg, but making sure both come at the same time. I mean, we can't do one without the other. So it's critical to have that critical mass of people, but it's also imperative that we have the critical mass of businesses down there that people want to support.
So how many businesses are those downtown visitors going to find when they go downtown?
There's about 120. Now, some of those are professional businesses, attorneys that you may not use every day, dentists, doctors, those kind of things that you probably aren't going to just wander in as you're wandering the sidewalks. About 60 of those are retail businesses, everything from, say, Willow Ridge Crafts to tattoo places to, Wild Roots, coffee shops, restaurants, etc. So, there's really a great mix. But one of the biggest challenges for us is, we really are divided right in half by those train tracks. And how do we combine and make sure that both sides, are equally represented and do as well? And how do we get people from one side to the other if you don't know about the underpass and things like that?
And for those people who may have just recently moved to Rock Springs, that area on North Front was primarily, a long time ago, one of the main shopping areas
Absolutely.
In the entire city.
Right. I mean, that's where all of the big department stores were. That was, JCPenney's was there, Woolworth was there, Newberry. So that's really where all the department stores was on North Front.
And now, of course, a lot of that business has moved on. But, I think it's interesting that you're leaving a lot of the signs and a lot of the remnants of previous businesses there so that people can get a sense of the history.
Yeah, and, that is one of the tenets of the Main Street Project is historic preservation. So we want to make sure that the buildings that we help people develop are done so in a historic nature. I mean, that's, the Broadway Theater, the train depot, the freight station building, those have all been historically accurately renovated. And so we want to encourage as much historic preservation and renovation as we can. Those, like you mentioned, those signs are important. The history of what was there, what our community was developed on is incredibly important. And that's obviously who our community is what the history is.
It's been, about a year since you moved into your present location, or longer than that?
About 2 years.
About 2 years.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that. That was a big move for you.
Yeah, it was about a $2 million project. And if you haven't been down, it's the building kind of located right behind Bichetto's. Our offices occupy the very front part of the building that's 2 stories. But then the back, which was the warehouse, has now become an event space. We call it Bunning Hall in recognition of the Bunning family that donated the building. And We have hosted all kinds of events there. We host craft fairs. We've actually hosted some funerals, weddings, receptions. The senior prom has been there, I think, the past 2 or 3 years. Some different dances and events. Over the last week, we hosted Able Hands for a Halloween party. So that really has become a real activity center for downtown and draws a lot of people down, and it's a great venue as well.
Obviously, you'd probably heavily invested in the promotion to shop local.
Absolutely. A big push for us and coming up pretty soon is Small Business Saturday, which is encouraging people to shop small. But even if you're not shopping small, we understand that, not everything can be found downtown. Not everything can be found at a mom and pop shop. But even just shopping locally is incredibly important. And, give the local folks, even if it is the big box stores and the new retail chains that are coming in, give them the first shot to earn your business and find out what you can. And, if things cost a little bit more here down the road, it's generally worth it, because those tax dollars are what fund our schools, they fund our roads, our wastewater treatment plant, police, fire. Those tax dollars are incredibly important. And every time you click buy online or you go to Salt Lake and buy something or somewhere else, your tax dollars are going to that community and not here locally. And so shopping locally is critically important to not just downtown, but to our community as a whole.
You must have a lot of relationships and partnerships with a lot of people in the county, do you not?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we work very closely with the Chamber of Commerce, obviously the City Council and the Mayor and City Hall itself, the Travel and Tourism Board, the college, BOCES, the Sweetwater County Concert Association. Obviously, you guys here at the radio station are incredibly supportive. The other media, the Rocket Miner, et cetera, et cetera. All of those committees and organizations, we're all here to make the community better. And so when we can partner and make sure that we're all in step going the same direction, that really benefits our community.
You mentioned the Broadway Theater. Another area that it's really important to downtown is Bunning Park.
Yeah, that is the most popular park in the city. And people may not have realized that, but that is the busiest park in the city. It's occupied almost every weekend with private and public events. The Parks Department and the Recreation Department do a great job of the concerts in the park, different activities that take place in there. And, it is right in the smack in the middle of downtown Rock Springs.
And the recent renovations, as far as making access more available, has really improved.
And there's more coming along. There's a grant before the state that I believe will be heard in December. The city has acquired quite a few of the properties on the south side that were really fairly run down. We'll look to remove those properties and increase, as you mentioned, parking, especially access for handicap and senior parking down there where it's closer and right next to the park. Plus, it'll help clean up that area and get rid of some of the blighted homes. And then hopefully those homeowners on the north side, as they start to see more development, will start to reinvest more in those properties and bring those, there's still quite a few people that live in there, but obviously some of those properties could be brought back to life a little bit more. So hopefully we'll be successful in getting that grant and redeveloping that. Plus, that's in the flood zone, and so redeveloping that's important because a lot of those homes can't be rehabbed because they are in the flood zone.
We'll be talking about events in just a moment, but how about projects that you have coming up in the future?
Yeah, we have, as I mentioned, we did receive a grant to redevelop that community garden space. The concept of the community garden is a great one, but it just has not caught on there. So we will be redeveloping that corner so it's a more attractive and pleasant area entrance into the downtown. We have several facade projects that are undergoing right now. Pilot Butte, if you drive down Pilot Butte Avenue, you'll see quite a few of the facade improvements that we're helping fund in those buildings. And then the mural project, we finished a mural in August, and we just raised just under $20,000 to start new murals. We'll be inviting the public to come to meetings for that in November, and then hoping to start adding more murals and artwork downtown starting in late spring when it warms up, early summer. So those are some of the bigger projects that we're doing that people will be able to see that are real visible.
In a moment, we will continue our conversation with Chad Banks of the Downtown Rock Springs URA Main Street program on Dateline Wyoming. We'll talk about upcoming events downtown. But first, this message from our sponsor, Northern Title Company. Good deeds done daily.
When you buy or sell a house or property, you have a choice in real estate agents. When you're ready to close on that real estate transaction, you also have a choice in your closing company. Northern Title has been servicing Sweetwater County for many years. Their experience can make your closing time quick and hassle-free. So tell your real estate agent your choice at closing time is Northern Title, 2620 Commercial Way, Rock Springs. Good deeds done daily. Northern Title.
Our guest on Dateline Wyoming is Chad Banks, manager of the URA Main Street program in downtown Rock Springs. Let's talk about some of the events and things that you've got planned in the coming months and throughout the coming year.
So Christmas, obviously, I mean, now that we're into November, is a huge time for us. Shopping season, retail promotions, and so forth. So we kick off actually our season at the Broadway Theater in a couple of weeks on November 17th with a dueling guitar show. A lot of people are familiar with dueling pianos. This is dueling guitars, and it's called Song Blast. Tickets for that are now available at our website, which is downtownrs.com, or the Chamber of Commerce or our office. And the nice thing about the majority of our season events is the tickets are going to be $10 a piece. And then shortly after that, we start with Small Business Saturday on November 26th and run through Christmas. Each Saturday from Thanksgiving weekend through Christmas, or through, I think it's December 17th, we'll have Santa Claus down in the train depot from 11 to 2. We also have the free carriage rides that we've been offering down there from the local carriage ride company. We'll be providing those. So be sure to come down. You can see Santa Claus, have a free carriage ride, kind of make some new memories downtown. December 3rd is also the Lighted Holiday Parade. The Chamber of Commerce puts that on and does a really nice job hosting that downtown. And, a new tradition for us at the Broadway Theater since its inception really has been the showing of the Polar Express movie. WyoRadio and Infinity Power and Control sponsors that each year. It's on December 2nd and 3rd. It's $5 a ticket. We encourage kids to wear their pajamas. Santa Claus will greet them at the end of the movie. And we'll have tickets available for that pretty soon. And then, we start after the holidays, we'll really hit our season of events and activities that are going on at the theater. We'll do Live in the Lobby, the showcases that we did each year. We were able to do a late addition to our theater season, and that was a show by the Broader J. Wranglers out of Jackson. Haven't had them here for a few years, but we were able to book them on December 9th for their Christmas show. Tickets for that are going to be $25 a piece, but they are always really popular and a lot of fun, and we haven't had them particularly for the Christmas show for a number of years.
Other than the holidays, what kind of yearly, annual, seasonal projects do you have?
We do. We certainly do our chocolate stroll, which is in March usually of every year. We sort of spin that around depending on when Easter falls, but that's generally in March, and we invite people downtown to sample chocolates and stroll the streets. And then every May we do our Downtown Burger Challenge. In June is the Rods and Rails Car Show. August is our Sweetwater Blues and Brews. And then last year we introduced a lunchtime concert series. We did it once a month. This summer we're hoping to do that every once a week. So those are some of the annual activities that go on every year.
And it's all an effort to get people to remember downtown, to think about going downtown, because anymore maybe that isn't the very top thing in our mind as we're shopping.
Right, exactly. And so that's why those events are important, is to reinforce that downtown really is the cultural center of the community. And if you think about all the culture and activities that go on downtown, we have the Broadway Theater, the Community Fine Arts Center, the arts and the murals. There are several art galleries. Actors Mission is there, the bowling alley, the library, the Rock Springs Historical Museum. It really is the cultural hub of our community, and that's where a lot of those events and activities take place too. So we just want to remind people that downtown exists, what we do down there, and that there's some great shopping, dining, entertainment options there for sure.
A lot of people might not be aware that there are walking tours available down there.
Yeah, there is a historic walking tour. You can pick up brochures at our office, the Chamber of Commerce, or the Historic Museum. And it'll tell you all about different buildings, different neighborhoods in downtown. It's kind of a loop through the whole area. We started hosting some guided tours of that last summer, and we'll do those again this summer. They were really popular. David Tate helped us with those, and some of the other local historians will help us this coming summer. So you can and those are self-guided. There's no cost. The brochures are free. And then we've mentioned briefly like the art gallery that's in the pedestrian underpass. There's 25 pieces of original art in there by local artists. Come down, take a look at all of those. It's amazing some of the talent that we have in our community.
How long has that been down there?
It's been just over a year. So it was last fall is when we put it up, last September.
Where'd you get the idea for that?
I saw something online about a community that was doing these small canvases that they hung up on a building. And so that transitioned to us. One of our goals was to sort of reinvent that pedestrian underpass. And so it transitioned from another community that was doing it on just a blank wall in their community to us doing it in that underpass and dressing up that underpass and making it not such a forgotten space.
Tell us about where you get some of your inspiration from for things we're doing. That
Anytime I travel, I think I'm one of those people that, I go to the downtowns and I take tons of pictures. And, whenever I'm out of town, that's one of the things that's sort of always on my to-do list is taking pictures. And then obviously there's national conventions. There are, we have a great resource in the state, Laramie, all of the I-80 main streets are really great programs that we network and get some ideas. And then Facebook, I follow probably 300 or 400 downtown organizations on Facebook alone. There's some great ideas. And then some things just come to me in the middle of the night. You know how that is.
If there's one thing you'd like people to know about downtown that they may not be aware of, what would that be?
It's vibrant. There is a lot of shopping. There's a lot of places to eat and drink and just enjoy your time downtown. There's some great resources down there that I don't know that people are aware of. And so every time we're able to bring people down there and they see a new shop or a new restaurant there, I think that's part of the goal.
How do you go about recruiting business down there?
That's always a tricky thing. There are no chain stores downtown, and so it's really working with entrepreneurs and mom and pops that want to open downtown. I touch base quite frequently with cottage industries that are selling goods and services through, online sources, through Facebook and whatever, and work with them to try and open downtown shops or try and fit them into sort of where they can start to expand. We have some programs to help as far as renovating buildings to fit needs for businesses downtown. And we have great resources. Not too long ago, I was in a meeting and somebody said, think of Chad as your mall manager for downtown. And I think that's a sort of a great analogy. Is that sort of what we do downtown is we're the mall management for downtown. And so anything we can do to promote those businesses and encourage them to move downtown, that's what we do.
Based with your experience working with merchants downtown, what is it? What's the attraction? Why do they end up downtown?
I think they're independent. They want to be independent. Downtown obviously has, for the most part, the rents are more reasonable. And they like the idea of being part of the downtown culture where the doors are open on a nice day, where people walk from store to store. Misty Hay from Escape Day Spa, when they looked at renovating and moving into a bigger building, they looked all around and wanted to stay downtown because they like the vibe and the general feeling of downtown. And I think that's why people locate downtown, and that's why people want to be downtown, is that vibe that goes on down there. There's an energy in downtown that you don't find in a strip mall.
Walk us through an average day, a particular typical day in the life of Chad Bay.
Between Terry and myself, we obviously manage the building that we house and the Broadway. So an average day might be, renting out our building. And if it's been a weekend, we double check to make sure that those buildings are returned in the conditions that they were left, so that some of it is maintenance and janitorial issues, making sure that the restrooms are clean and the tables are put away and everything's ready to go for the next event. It also involves a lot of contact with downtown merchants. There's probably not a day that goes by that I'm not walking the street downtown, either North Front or Pilot Butte or Broadway, to visit with merchants and find out how business is going and what we can do to help and where we can go. And then working, there's also a lot of meetings that take place with our, other partners, with the Chamber of Commerce, and attending those activities, attending a meeting at the Kiwanis or the Rotary or whoever to speak about what we're doing, and then working on events and activities. So it's planning. We started planning Christmas activities in June. So now we're already having meetings to talk about Blues and Brews for August and what we're going to do in the summer. And so a lot of it is really kind of long-range planning. A
lot of that planning starts to happen the minute that event is over, does it not?
Right.
So
as soon as an event is over, we have sort of a post-mortem on that event, what worked, what didn't work, and then move forward to starting planning it for the following year.
We haven't talked about the depot. I mean, that is a real historic building downtown, isn't it?
It is, and our offices were in there for a little while, but now it is a great venue that people can rent for parties, for weddings, for any kind of activity. We will actually that's where Santa will be really through the whole month of December. So it's sort of out of commission for the month of December. But if you're looking for any kind of smaller gathering, I think it seats 75 people. It's a beautiful venue. It was restored in 1993, if I remember the dates right. It has beautiful hardwood floors. It's handicap accessible. And, it's always kind of fun for people when there is an event downtown to watch the trains, either in our building, the freight station building, or the depot, and be able to watch the trains. It's pretty interesting, actually, how many people come down just for train spotting.
I know at one time there was, and there probably still is, discussion about the bank building downtown. Where's that situation still?
We advertise the bank building. We market it. That's one of the big projects on our list, obviously, is the First Security Bank building. So it's advertised pretty heavily in Preservation Magazine on a national level, looking for the right developer, and I use right in quotation marks, in that, we want to make sure that when we sell it, and we have had a few offers that just haven't quite panned out right, that it's sold to the person that's going to be willing to redevelop it and turn it back into really a key for downtown. So we want to make sure that the person that buys it has the financial wherewithal to do it, because it's not a cheap project, and that they're going to do it the right way. We talked about the historic preservation, that that it's going to be preserved for future generations. So we market that fairly heavily. We're right now in discussions with 3 or 4 different people who've seen the ad and have some interest, and so we'll see if something comes from those.
What do you see as the biggest challenge for downtown?
That building is one of them, for sure. When you drive downtown, you would think that there are more vacancies than there are. There really are not a whole lot of vacancies, or a lot of property that's available to rent, maybe is the other way to put it. So making sure that properties are up to the right caliber to attract the right retail is one of the challenges. And in some places, parking is a challenge. Not for the most part on North Front or Broadway or Main, but when you get into Pilot Butte, it's a little tighter. There's some parking challenges there. I think that primarily is the inventory that we have, what building inventory we have, and what's available to rent.
I would say over the past 20 years, the appearance factor in downtown Rock Springs has improved tremendously.
Absolutely. The city's made huge investments, obviously, with decorative lighting, replacing sidewalks and streets and, crosswalks. And then building owners have taken a lot of pride in their building. And we've helped, probably 40 different building owners with our facade program to, add new signage, add awnings, redo the exterior, new brickwork, et cetera, et cetera. And even if you just look in the past couple of years at the building that we now occupy, the freight station, the road that ran by that building was really just sort of a gravel, I don't even know that you'd call it an alley, really. It was sort of this, I don't know what it was, but when we were able to restore our building with the grant funds, and the city also pitched in some money to upgrade that to a real road with curb and gutter and sidewalks, and so just cleaning up those kind of areas makes huge improvements. And it's funny when you look past some of the projects we've worked on and what they used to look like. It's really amazing how much even transformation in the past 10 years.
That says a lot about the commitment and the vision of the city council, does it not?
Absolutely. Yeah, because without their funding, not only would our project not exist, but renovation of the M Street underpass or the overpass that in conjunction with YDOT and some of those other projects, without the city council and the city council's funding, those projects wouldn't exist.
Any final thoughts, Jan?
If you're interested in volunteering, we're always looking for volunteers, and that can be people that want to serve on a committee that interests you, or if you just want to come, at one event and help take tickets or help, serve beer or whatever the case may be. There's lots of volunteer opportunities. There's always opportunities to volunteer. So we would encourage you to do that and visit our website at downtownrs.com.
Chad, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Our guest on Dateline Wyoming this morning has been Chad Banks, manager of the Downtown Rock Springs URA Main Street program.
Northern Title Company knows that most of us don't like paying capital gains tax every time we buy or sell property. We want to keep what we've worked so hard to acquire, but we may not know how or where to find the answers we need. That's why using Northern Title, an experienced and qualified title company, is the answer. Stop in today at 2620 Commercial Way in Rock Springs. Northern Title Company. Good deeds done daily.
You have been listening to Dateline Wyoming with your host, Tom Ellis. Dateline Wyoming is a public affairs presentation of WyoRadio News. Conversations with the people behind the headlines, highlighting community issues and events that shape our lives here in Southwest Wyoming. Views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of WyoRadio ownership, management, or that of our sponsors. Time will be made available for responsible dissenting opinion. Dateline Wyoming is sponsored by Northern Title Company. Good deeds done daily.